Zix 427 stared at the monitoring screens with all four of his eyes, not believing what he was seeing. The quantum readings from Earth were impossible. He adjusted his sensors again, but the data remained the same. The humans had done it. They had achieved faster than light travel, and they had done it in secret. In a hidden facility beneath the Nevada desert, Kate Morgan wiped sweat from her forehead as she looked at her own screens. The test had worked perfectly. Their small probe had jumped across space, traveling faster than light itself, and returned safely. She turned to her team, their faces glowing in the blue light of the underground lab's monitors. "We did it," she said softly. Then louder, "We actually did it." The room erupted in cheers. 20 years of work had finally paid off. The other scientists hugged each other, some crying, others laughing. Kate touched the small metal cube that had made the jump. It was still warm from its incredible journey. On Mars, hidden beneath the red dust of Olympus Mons, the alien observation post went into emergency mode. Red lights flashed as sensors detected the quantum disturbance from Earth. The station's commander, Rax 19, quickly sent encrypted messages to the Galactic Council. This was what they had feared for centuries. Back in the underground lab, Kate's colleague, Steve Patterson, rushed in with news from their outer sensors. "Kate, you need to see this. There's some kind of energy spike coming from Mars. It's like nothing we've ever seen before." Kate frowned. Their FTL test shouldn't have affected Mars in any way. She walked to Steve's station and looked at his readings. The energy signature was alien. There was no other word for it. It pulsed with a pattern that no human technology could create. "Keep this quiet," she ordered. "Don't tell anyone outside this room." Her team nodded. They had all signed dozens of secrecy agreements. But this was different. This was bigger than government clearances and classified projects. In orbit around Jupiter, a cloaked alien ship received the alert from Mars. Its captain prepared to send warning signals to all ships in the sector. Stay away from Earth. The humans were advancing faster than anyone had predicted. Kate spent the next 12 hours analyzing data from their FTL test. The probe had traveled 10 light years and returned in less than a second. But something else caught her attention. There were traces of other FTL signatures in space, very faint, but definitely there. Earth wasn't alone in achieving this technology. She took the elevator up to the surface level of the facility, disguised as an abandoned gas station in the middle of nowhere. The night sky stretched above her, filled with stars. Kate wondered which ones had been reached by other civilizations, and why they had never contacted Earth. On the Galactic Council's main space station, Zix 427's report caused chaos. The High Chancellor called an emergency meeting. The humans weren't supposed to achieve FTL technology for at least another century. The careful plans of multiple alien species were falling apart. "We must maintain the quarantine," the High Chancellor announced to the Council. "Earth must continue to believe they are alone in the universe. If they discover the truth now, it could be disastrous." But it was already too late. In her lab, Kate had started detecting more anomalies. There were artificial structures on Mars, hidden from Earth's normal scanning systems. She found evidence of advanced technology in the asteroid belt. The pieces were coming together. Steve walked up to her desk with 2 cups of coffee. "What are we going to do?" he asked, handing her one of the cups. Kate took a sip and looked at her screens. "We keep this quiet, and we keep working. But we also start preparing. Earth needs to be ready." She pulled up the data from their successful FTL test. "They're out there, Steve. They've been watching us. And for some reason, they don't want us to know they exist." In his observation post, Zix 427 made a decision that would change everything. Instead of following protocol and erasing the evidence of human FTL travel, he saved a copy of the data. The humans had achieved something remarkable, and he couldn't bring himself to hide it. Perhaps it was time for the galaxy to stop pretending Earth didn't exist. The discovery that would reshape the galaxy had been made, and there was no going back. Humanity had taken its first real step into a much larger universe, even if the universe wasn't quite ready for humanity. Linda Walsh wasn't actually reading the book she held in her hands. Instead, she was watching the alien disguised as a college student 3 aisles away in the library. They were getting sloppy, sending their observers into such public places. Or maybe they were getting desperate. She turned a page, maintaining her cover as a simple librarian. The truth was far more complex. Linda was part of the Earth Defense Network, a secret organization that had been protecting Earth from alien interference for over 50 years. They didn't stop all alien observers. That would have been too suspicious. Instead, they managed the situation, making sure the aliens saw exactly what they wanted them to see. The alien observer dropped a book, and Linda noticed its fingers bend the wrong way as it picked it up. Amateur mistake. She sent a quick message through her neural implant to headquarters. Another one at Berkeley. Getting careless. Recommend extraction. In orbit, hidden behind Earth's moon, the alien ship Keldar received an urgent message from their ground observer. The message mentioned something about humans acting strangely around their agent. Captain Drell5 made a note to improve their disguise protocols. Linda walked to the back office of the library, closed the door, and activated her secure terminal. The screen showed dozens of alien observation posts scattered throughout the solar system. The network had known about them for decades. What the aliens didn't know was that every time they thought they were successfully hiding their presence, they were actually being carefully managed by humans. Status report. Her terminal displayed. Linda began typing. They're increasing surveillance. 3 new observers this week. Their behavior suggests they're nervous about something. Recommend increasing our countermeasures. On Mars, Zix 427 was reviewing historical data about Earth. Something wasn't adding up. Every time it seemed like humans were about to discover alien life, something would go wrong. Equipment would malfunction, data would be corrupted, or observers would mysteriously disappear. It was too consistent to be coincidence. Back on Earth, Linda received an alert. The alien student was approaching the restricted section of the library, the section that contained subtle hints about alien life, carefully crafted to make any alien observer believe humans were still in the dark about extraterrestrial existence. She watched through the security cameras as the alien examined the books. Its facial expression remained neutral, but Linda could tell it was pleased with what it found. Another successful deception. In the Galactic Council chambers, a heated debate was underway. The humans are advancing too quickly, one counselor argued. Our containment protocols are failing. Impossible, another responded. Our observers report they still believe they're alone in the universe. Their media, their science, their culture, all of it confirms this. If only they knew that every piece of evidence they had about Earth was carefully constructed by the Earth Defense Network. Linda's neural implant buzzed again. A message from Central Command. FTL breakthrough confirmed. Begin Phase 2. She smiled. For years, the network had been laying the groundwork for this moment. They had convinced the galaxy that Earth was harmless, primitive, and most importantly, isolated, all while building up humanity's defenses and technology in secret. The alien observer finally left the library. Linda watched it go, then sent another message. Target leaving. Operation successful. They still believe we don't know. In his observation post, Zix 427 compiled his daily report about Earth. Everything seemed normal, too normal. He stared at the quantum readings from the FTL test again. Something major was happening on Earth, but every other piece of data suggested humans were centuries away from such technology. Linda checked her terminal one last time before leaving for the day. The screen showed the status of humanity's hidden fleet. 5,000 ships, all FTL capable, all invisible to alien sensors. The greatest deception in human history was about to end, but not before humanity was ready. The aliens thought they were containing Earth. In reality, they were just giving humanity time to prepare. And now, That preparation was almost complete. Peter Russell stood at the command station of the Stellar Dawn, watching as his ship approached the Alpha Centauri system. After 6 months of secret preparation, they were making humanity's first official voyage beyond the solar system. The ship hummed with power as it moved through FTL space, using Kate Morgan's breakthrough technology. "Sir, we're picking up something strange," said Paul Harris, the ship's sensor operator. "There's an energy signature ahead. It's not natural." Peter leaned forward. "Show me." The screen displayed a pattern that made his heart skip. It was a ship, an alien ship. The crew fell silent as they processed what they were seeing. In the patrol vessel Keck 789, Captain Nar6 was having a routine day monitoring this sector of space. Then the alarms went off. An unregistered ship was approaching. A ship that wasn't in any galactic database. "Prepare the redirect protocols," Nar6 ordered. This was standard procedure for dealing with new species who accidentally discovered FTL travel. They would disable the ship's engines, wipe their navigation data, and send them home with corrupted memories. On the Stellar Dawn, alarm bells started ringing. "They're charging weapons," Paul reported, his voice steady despite the situation. Peter took a deep breath. The Earth Defense Network had prepared them for this possibility. Raise shields. Power up defensive systems, but do not arm weapons yet. Let's see what they do. The alien ship fired its redirect beam, a technology that had worked on dozens of emerging civilizations before. It hit the Stellar Dawn's shields and bounced off. In the Keck 789, Nar6 stared at his readings in disbelief. "That's impossible," he muttered. "Fire again. Full power." The second blast hit the human ship's shields and dissipated harmlessly. The Stellar Dawn's defensive technology, developed in secret over decades, was far more advanced than the aliens had expected. "They're preparing a third shot," Paul reported. "Sir, they're also transmitting some kind of signal. Looks like a standard first contact package." Peter smiled grimly. "Send our response package. Let's see how they handle finding out we're from Earth." On the alien ship, Nar6 received the transmission and nearly fell out of his command chair. "Earth. This ship is from Earth. But that's impossible. They're not supposed to have this technology for another century." The Stellar Dawn's response package included a simple message. "We know you've been watching us. We know about the deception. We suggest you power down your weapons." Peter watched as the alien ship's energy readings dropped. They were standing down. He turned to his communications officer, Alice Ward. "Open a channel." The alien captain's face appeared on their screen. Peter could see the shock in its four-eyed expression. "This is Commander Peter Russell of the Earth ship Stellar Dawn. We come in peace, but we will defend ourselves if necessary." Nar6 struggled to respond. The humans weren't supposed to be here. They weren't supposed to have shields that could resist redirect beams. They weren't supposed to know about the galactic community at all. "How?" was all the alien captain could ask. "We've known for longer than you think," Peter replied. "We just chose to play along until we were ready." In the Galactic Council chambers, emergency alarms were blaring. The humans hadn't just achieved FTL travel. They had developed shield technology that made their best weapons useless. Back on the Stellar Dawn, Peter sent a coded message back to Earth. "First contact achieved. They're exactly as vulnerable as we expected." Alice looked up from her station. "Sir, we're picking up multiple ships approaching. Looks like they're calling for backup." Peter nodded calmly. This too had been anticipated. "Hold position. Let them come. It's time they learned that Earth isn't as helpless as they thought." The real first contact between Earth and the galaxy was about to begin, and it wouldn't go anything like the aliens had planned. Susan Martinez adjusted her holographic disguise as she walked through the crowded alien trading post on Europa Station. To everyone around her, she appeared to be a common Zentaran trader. No one suspected she was human. She had spent 3 years building her cover, and today it would all pay off. The information center's security was basic. The aliens never expected anyone to be interested in old classification records. Susan slipped inside during the shift change, just as planned. Her neural implant connected to the alien database, downloading decades of classified information about Earth. Then she saw it. The file was marked Class X Prohibited Zone, Earth. Her hands trembled as she began to read. In the Galactic Council's main chamber, Representative Cole9 was giving his daily report when the secure alerts began flashing. Someone was accessing restricted files about Earth. The council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. "How serious is this breach?" asked the High Chancellor. "Very," Cole9 replied. "They're accessing the original quarantine orders. They'll discover why Earth was classified as prohibited." Susan's eyes widened as she read through the files. Earth hadn't just been classified as prohibited. It had been classified that way for over 10,000 years, long before humans had even developed writing. The files contained reports from the first alien scouts to visit Earth. They had found something that terrified them. Humans could adapt to almost anything. Where other species took thousands of generations to evolve, humans could change their behavior and survive in decades. On a secure channel, Susan transmitted the data back to Earth Defense Network headquarters. "You need to see this," she wrote. "They've been afraid of us since before we built the pyramids." The council chamber erupted into chaos as more alerts came in. Human ships had been detected in 12 different star systems. Not just ships, they had found colonies. Hidden colonies that had somehow escaped detection. "How is this possible?" demanded one council member. "The quarantine was absolute." "Clearly not," another replied. "They've been expanding right under our sensors." In a quiet corner of Europa Station, Susan downloaded more files. The original quarantine order had been issued after alien observers watched humans survive an ice age with nothing but stone tools and animal furs. The aliens had realized that any species this adaptable would be impossible to control. Linda Walsh received Susan's transmission at network headquarters on Earth. She immediately understood the implications. The aliens hadn't hidden themselves from humanity. They had hidden humanity from the rest of the galaxy. "Bring up the colony stats," she ordered her team. The screen showed what the aliens had just discovered. Human settlements on 27 worlds, all carefully hidden from galactic detection. The council was now in full emergency session. "We must act immediately," one member insisted. "Quarantine every human settlement." "It's too late," Cole9 responded. "Look at these scans. Their colonies are too well established. They have planetary shields, FTL capabilities, and technology we've never seen before. While we were trying to contain them, they were studying us." Susan made her way to the station's docking bay, her disguise still intact. Her part of the mission was complete. As she walked, she passed dozens of aliens rushing to emergency meetings. They had just realized that their greatest fear had come true. Humanity wasn't contained at all. In orbit around Earth, Peter Russell's ship, the Stellar Dawn, received the update from Susan. He smiled as he read it. "Send word to all colonies," he ordered. "Operation Revelation is now active." Linda looked at the latest reports coming in from across the galaxy. Human agents were in place on hundreds of worlds. Earth's fleet was ready. The colonies were secure. They had achieved everything they wanted while the galaxy pretended they didn't exist. The time for hiding was over. Now it was time to show the galaxy exactly what humanity could do. Amy Baker stood before the mirror in her quarters, watching as her holographic disguise adjusted to match the appearance of a Proxian merchant. The small trading species was perfect for her mission. They were common enough not to draw attention, but respected enough to get meetings with minor government officials. The Earth Defense Network had chosen the Artilian Empire as their first target for official contact. The Artilians were a young species in galactic terms, barely 1,000 years into space travel. More importantly, they weren't part of the conspiracy to hide Earth's existence. In his observation post on Mars, Cree 8 was reviewing security footage when he noticed something strange. He had been watching recordings of various alien species across the galaxy, looking for signs of human activity. Then he saw it, a Zentaran trader using distinctly human gestures. "Computer, find similar behavioral patterns in other footage," he ordered. The results made him freeze. There were hundreds of matches, spread across dozens of species and hundreds of worlds. Annie walked through the busy spaceport on Artilia's capital world. Her fake credentials passed the security scan easily. Earth had been copying alien identification systems for decades. She had a meeting scheduled with a minor trade official, the first step in a carefully planned revelation. Back at the Galactic Council, Create's report caused panic. "The humans aren't just out there," he explained to the emergency session. "They've been infiltrating every level of galactic society. Those behavioral patterns prove it. They're everywhere, disguised as other species." Annie sat across from trade official Ven 12 of Artilia. The alien was curious about her proposal for new trade routes. She took a deep breath. It was time. "Before we discuss trade," she said, "there's something you should know about a world called Earth." In orbit around Saturn, Linda Walsh received Amy's signal. Phase 1 of contact with Artilia had begun. Similar scenes were playing out across 12 other systems, each carefully chosen for their potential reaction to Earth's revelation. Create's investigation had uncovered more disturbing news. Humans weren't just hiding as other species. They had been gathering intelligence for years. They knew about secret military bases, classified technology, and political scandals that could tear the Galactic Council apart. On Artilia, Ven 12 listened with growing amazement as Annie explained about Earth. She showed him proof, pictures, data, and technical specifications that proved humans were far more advanced than anyone had suspected. "Why are you telling me this?" Ven 12 asked. "Because your people deserve to know the truth," Amy replied. "The major powers have been lying to everyone about Earth's existence. We want to change that." Linda reviewed the incoming reports. The Artilians were reacting exactly as predicted, with curiosity rather than fear. Other species were responding similarly across the galaxy. The careful psychological profiles the network had built were proving accurate. In the council chambers, the evidence of human infiltration grew worse. They found humans working as maintenance workers in secure facilities, as traders in sensitive areas, even as personal assistants to high-ranking officials. The entire galaxy had been compromised. Amy wrapped up her meeting with Ven 12. The trade official was excited about the possibilities of working with Earth. More importantly, he was angry at the Galactic Council for hiding Earth's existence. "Your people should have been welcomed into the galactic community long ago," he said. "We are now," Amy replied with a smile. "And we have a lot to share." Linda sent out the next set of orders to Earth's hidden agents. Phase 2 would begin soon. The systematic exposure of the Council's deception to every species in the galaxy. The humans hadn't just infiltrated galactic society. They had reshaped it from within, preparing for this moment. And now, as their agents revealed themselves across thousands of worlds, the galaxy would learn just how complete that infiltration had been. John Cooper brushed dust off the ancient alien tablet, his heart racing. After 3 years working undercover as a research assistant in the Galactic Archives, he had finally found it. The tablet was part of a collection of artifacts from long before the current Galactic Council existed. The symbols were different from modern galactic writing, but his neural implant could translate them. As he read, his hands began to shake. This wasn't just a historical record, it was a warning. At network headquarters, Linda Walsh received John's urgent transmission. The file contained images of the tablet and its translation. She called an emergency meeting as soon as she read it. The council didn't just decide to hide Earth, she told her team. They were following a warning left by an ancient civilization, a warning about us. In his private chambers, the High Chancellor of the Galactic Council studied newly uncovered records. The humans weren't just finding ancient texts, they were piecing together the truth about their own past. John carefully photographed more tablets. They told a story from over 50,000 years ago. Back then, humans had already reached the stars. They had built an empire that spanned hundreds of worlds. But something had happened, something that had erased humanity's memory of that time. The ancient texts called humans the adaptable ones and spoke of their incredible ability to survive anything. Other species of that time had feared this ability. They had seen how humans could live in any environment, learn any skill, and overcome any obstacle. Linda read through John's translations with growing amazement. According to these records, humans didn't just have an empire. They had the largest empire the galaxy had ever seen. Not through conquest, but through adaptation and innovation. In the archives, John found more records. They revealed that the ancient species had tried to destroy humanity, fearing their potential. But humans had survived on Earth, protected by automated defense systems that had eventually broken down and been forgotten. The High Chancellor called an emergency session of the Council. The quarantine was never meant to protect us from them, he explained. It was meant to protect them from remembering who they were. John's next discovery was even more shocking. The texts revealed that many of the galaxy's current technologies had originally been human inventions. The ancient species had stolen these technologies before trying to destroy humanity. Linda assembled Earth's top officials to share what they had learned. Humanity's lost empire had been peaceful but powerful. They had solved problems that still troubled the galaxy today. Their technology had been far advanced of anything that currently existed. They didn't hide us because they feared what we might become, she explained. They hid us because they feared what we once were. In the archives, John found the final piece of the puzzle. The ancient species had failed to destroy humanity, so they had tried something else. They had used a weapon that erased memories, making humans forget their past among the stars. The council chamber was in chaos as the truth spread. The humans hadn't just recovered from that ancient attack. They had rebuilt their technology in secret, hidden behind the very quarantine meant to contain them. Linda looked at the latest reports from Earth's hidden colonies. Without knowing it, humans had begun rebuilding their ancient empire. Their hidden settlements followed almost exactly the same patterns as their ancestors' worlds. John carefully packed away the ancient tablets. The truth was now out. Humanity wasn't just another emerging species. They were the return of the galaxy's greatest civilization, one that had survived an attempt to erase it from history. The Council's worst fear had come true. The humans hadn't just survived and adapted. They had found their way back to the stars, stronger than ever. Carol Richards stood at the podium in the great chamber of the Galactic Council. She was the first human to openly address the assembled representatives of over 10,000 alien species. The chamber had been designed to make lesser species feel small, but Carol felt only pride. For centuries, you tried to hide us from the galaxy, she began. Now you must deal with us as equals. In the audience, Zix 427 watched with mixed feelings. He had been the first to detect Earth's FTL breakthrough, and now he was witnessing history. The human ambassador wasn't asking for acceptance. She was stating facts. Linda Walsh monitored the broadcast from Earth Defense Network headquarters. Screens showed human agents across the galaxy revealing themselves. Shop owners, traders, scientists, and workers stepped out of the shadows, deactivating their disguises. "We are everywhere," Carol continued. "Not as spies or infiltrators, but as neighbors. We have lived among you, learned from you, and yes, protected ourselves from you." The council members shifted uncomfortably. Security reports were pouring in from every sector of space. Human settlements were appearing on scanners as they dropped their cloaking fields. Dozens, then hundreds, then thousands of colonies. Peter Russell, now Admiral of Earth's fleet, watched from the bridge of the Stellar Dawn as ships emerged from hidden docks across the galaxy. Not warships, but trading vessels, science ships, and exploration craft. "You feared our ability to adapt," Carol said to the council. "You were right too. When you tried to hide us from the galaxy, we adapted. We turned your quarantine into our shield. While you watched Earth for signs of spaceflight, we were already among the stars. In the archives, John Cooper carefully replaced the ancient tablets. The truth about humanity's past was now public knowledge. The species that had tried to destroy humanity was long extinct, but their fear had infected the modern council. Carol gestured to the great star map behind her. It lit up with points of light, each one a human settlement or outpost. The council members gasped. Human civilization stretched across nearly a quarter of the galaxy. "We don't want revenge," Carol assured them. "We don't want to rule. We want what we've always wanted, to explore, to learn, to grow. You can't contain us, but you don't need to fear us." Linda received reports from across Earth's hidden network. Alien races were reaching out, not with fear, but with curiosity. Many had suspected something was wrong with the Council's policy of isolation. Now they knew the truth. "We offer you a choice," Carol said. "Continue to fear us, to fight against our existence, or accept that we are part of this galaxy. We can share our technology, our adaptability, our solutions to problems your people have struggled with for generations." A High Chancellor stood. The council chamber fell silent. This was the moment that would shape the galaxy's future. "Earth is no longer a prohibited world," he announced. "Humanity is recognized as a full member of the galactic community." Across the galaxy, celebrations broke out on human colonies. Ships dropped their disguises. Hidden stations revealed themselves. A civilization that had grown in secret stepped into the light. Peter watched from his ship as the galaxy transformed. Trade routes were redrawn to include human worlds. Scientific missions openly shared their discoveries. Cultural exchanges began as aliens visited Earth for the first time. Carol finished her speech with a simple truth. "You tried to pretend Earth didn't exist. In doing so, you gave us time to become something greater than we had ever been." The galaxy's greatest fear became its greatest opportunity. Linda closed the final files on Operation Revelation. Earth hadn't just survived the galaxy's attempt to hide it. They had turned that hiding into their greatest advantage. The age of secrecy was over. The age of humanity had begun.